So, hello guys, welcome to the session 9 of our AR session series. And today we will be talking about target tracking. And we have with us Naveen Upadhyay sir, who will be taking the session forward as usual. I hope it's going to be another insightful session for you all. So, without any delay, let's start with the stream. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Varun. And a very good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. And hi, Jessica. Hi, Avinash. Hi, Durga. And we're gonna start in a minute. Let's everybody join in a while. Today's session is about target tracking. Target tracking is one of the very interesting effects that I like the most. Excuse me for a while. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. And hi, Aman. Hi, Gauri. Hi, Shekhar. And so today's session is about target tracking. And as the name suggests, um, the target tracking is that we have a target, that we track it, and once we track it successfully, it is supposed to trigger something. So it is supposed to trigger some events. It is supposed to trigger an effect that you want to show. So that's what the target tracking is about. And target tracking effects are super simple effects. They don't have like lots of logic, except just this one trigger, just one trigger which is going to activate the effect that you found the image. And once you found the image, it is just as simple as, you if you have worked on your assignment number one, then um, probably you can do everything that you've done in your assignment number one and convert that entire assignment to a target tracking effect. So so we're gonna learn about those. Before that, we have some announcements today. And give me a moment. um, Sorry. Okay. Right. So I'm gonna announce the assignment first, and then probably we can start with the session. And thanks, Aman. I'm glad you liked the assignment. And uh, yeah, that was the idea of covering all the points that you've learned. And it's not about making something very much outstanding, but getting familiar with all the functionalities, that how do we utilize those functions. And it doesn't matter if you make something simple, if you make something complex, but the end goal is to have an understanding of those functions, so that when you later on, let's say if you want to create something, and then you can combine a couple of functionalities which can make you your desired effect. So I'm glad that that made sense to you. And I've seen like a lot of us has done the assignments. And I've also received some links, and they're so good, they're super nice. I really love your imaginations. And I'm super excited to see like all of your assignments. And yeah, if you want some suggestions on some things, like let's say if you're working on something, and then if you can also send me a test link in here, I can try it out, give you some suggestions, and like where we can do maybe at the end of the session if we have time. Okay, give me a moment to share the assignment with you. Okay, I hope you're able to see the screen again. And this is the assignment number 2. And a lot of text in here, but you have to make sense of this text. Last time we covered basic emitters. We covered how to put things in layers, how to apply materials, how to use PNG sequences, how to add sounds. We've done all that, and so this time let's try to play with the back camera, because last time we did is like front camera, and then we learned most of it, like what else can we do with the front camera. We could use face tracker, we could use those movements, but when you're using back camera, let's try to make a world effect this time. So so everybody has like their favorite characters. Favorite characters can be your Disney characters, your superheroes, princesses, your fairy tale, heroes. Anything can be your fantasy character. So you gotta choose 3 characters. You can choose anything. For example, if I choose Tom and Jerry, and maybe I don't know, the some dragon. Okay, so I can use any 3 characters, and I have to place those characters into the world effect. That means I have to use a plane tracker. I use the plane tracker, then I should give user an option to pick any of the characters. That means we are going to use a native UI picker, so that they can switch when they select from the native UI picker. They can select which character to choose out of those 3. So you can pick many. At least there should be 3. If you have more characters, you can choose 3, more than that as well. When I talk about you pick 3 characters, what we're gonna do is we're gonna import 3D models of those characters. You might find a lot of them into Sparker library. Some of them you might find on the internet as well. There are a couple of websites like TurboSquid, CG Trader. Sometimes they do have some of the freely available 3D models. So you can download .fbx, .obj, and those can work as well. And so you import those, and you can work with those. And then this is a back camera effect. So let's say if user opens the filter, if it is opened as in a front camera, then you should instruct the user to go to the back camera, because it has to be intuitive. It has to be, the user has to know what's happening in the effect right now. So if my filter is totally back camera supported, then if I go on the front camera, there should be an instruction so that the user can understand, like, okay, maybe the experience is on the back camera. So that's what you have to do. You're required to choose 3 characters. You can choose Sketchfab or outside. Um, Use native AI picker to pick any of the characters. And so now there's a tricky part. There's a little bit of layering that you have to do here. So those characters should be fully visible, and we know that in our environment that we look at the camera, that might be bright sometimes, it might be dark sometimes. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the environment a little darker already, so that our characters are visible bright enough. So that's what we want to do. So you have to add a light background. Anything, it can be anything. Just make it darker so that your characters are visible. Make sure the characters are not dark. So you have to exclude the characters, but make everything dark. And now, how to adjust that darkness of the background? Then you need to use a native UI slider that will directly change the opacity of the background. So that's that. Um, when we use the plane tracker effect, we did some screen pinching. We see some repositioning of the 3D model, so where you want to place them. So same things you have to do. You have to use screen tap to place the object. You have to screen pinch to scale it down or scale it up, and you have to use the screen pan to like reposition it. Also screen rotate too if you want to rotate the object. So that's we've already discussed, and it's an easy thing, but I want you to do it by yourself, so that once you know it, you can utilize it anywhere. It's a very simple thing. Like in today's date, there are a couple of patches in this Parker library which just can just drag and drop into it. but I recommend that it's a very simple setup that you do, so it kind of gives you that confidence um, to work with plane tracker. You can use audio as well, of course. Any audio works. It should be just a background music and something when you screen tap to place the objects. um, okay, bonus points if you add some music, not music, bonus point if you add some animation. Animation can be like, if you can access the bones, then like 3D model can have bones, so you can use some sort of animation to make the character moves. And I understand that cannot be done in Spark. If they have bones, the models have bones, then you might like just maybe move it a little bit. But if it's like a proper dancing animation or proper walking animation, then you can't do that in Spark. But I've left a link in the assignment. It's called mixamo.com. Mixamo.com is a library of, let me just show you. It's by Adobe, and it is a library of a lot of animations. So what you do is just import your 3D object in here, and once you import your 3D object, the next thing you have to do is just assign what sort of animation do you want to it. Like they have a couple of like walking, fighting, jumping. There are actually I'm just gonna show you an example. It's very simple to do it also as well. Like, so for an example, let's say this is your 3D model, this is your character. So this character, the kind of animation that you want to make it like, let's say I want to make it dance, and I see that there might be some dance animation in here. There's one. This is doing hip hop. This is doing chicken dance. There's some snake dancing, and this is locking something. Okay, this is shopping cart dance. Okay, so that's new. And when I apply this, to my model start behaving like that. So, and you can upload your own model in here, like upload character. When you upload a character, I don't think I have a character at the moment, but if you upload a character, it's gonna give you some sort of points, like map where is your elbow, where is your wrist joints, where is your neck. So that's how it's able to track. So if something has to dance, then it will just move those points in your 3D model. So it's easy. Research about it. You can do a little bit of research. I think in maximum 20 minutes you can make your own animation using this, and also be like ready to work with Spark Air. So yeah, that's pretty much about the assignment too. And when it is due and everything, you will I think know in a separate email. But I think it's shorter than the earlier one, but make it as good as you can. Plane tracker, try to work with like some of the plane tracker mechanisms are like not so nice. The object you place keeps moving all the time. So what things can you do, what practices can you make it, can you use to optimize it? So those are the things you can think about if you have enough time to work on this assignment. So yeah, that's pretty much it, and all the best with this. Let me know if I have any questions along the way. I am here for a few weeks more here. Okay, so coming back to our target tracking effect, is there any question? Like, have we understood the assignment? Should we go ahead with the session? Is there anything that doubtful, not understood? How to do the animations, how to change the 3D models. So basically, all you have to do is trigger that visibility using the native UI picker. Okay, okay, good to know. Thanks, Aman. All right, so we have target tracker today. Target tracker is like there's a target that you use your phone camera to identify. There's a target image. When I say target, I'm talking about an image. So there's a target image, and when you identify that image using your camera, once it is identified, it should trigger something. Like it should trigger something, as in it should trigger some actions that your phone was waiting for, your effect was waiting for. That you were waiting that if we find this image, so maybe make it rain. If you find this image, so say something, like trigger something. It is useful mostly with business cards. Like if you have a business card, like how people give the some associates or whatever business card, those are so boring, and right now like nobody keeps them. But in augmented reality, if you look at that business card using your camera, that business card might just give you more information. Like when it detects that business card, so let's say pop up the phone number, play some animation, or just show a map to the location. So you could do like a couple of things. um, and another example is that there's a print on my t-shirt, and if this print is detected in my phone, then maybe make this every letter of or the t-shirt bouncing. So we could do that as well. And what else are the examples of most of them are like business cards, unboxing of something. Those are like target effects. So we're going to talk about how to make those effects. But first we need to understand, um, like, what is a good target image and what is not a good target image as well. Like not everything is a like we can't just go and work on a round table, like a round bottle. Like if I want to scan this image Pringles, so if I look at any angle from the camera, I'm not going to look at the entire Pringles at once. It's just going to be like curved. But what we're looking for is like a flat surface, so that everything is positioned well, the placement is good. So we're going to talk about those practices as well. And then most of the talk is around them only, because the effect is like this target tracking capability is very simple. There's nothing in it. Just have to put your image that you want to target it. Like it's just that you put your objects under the parent of target tracker. How we were doing in a plane tracker, we were putting as a parent in the plane tracker. Now we'll do it in the target tracker, as simple as that. So let's get started with it. um, this is an example of this is a work I did for SSPC. It was along with the Goa team. And this is just an example of like how target tracking is. This was a pamphlet in her hand, and the pamphlet was scanned through the camera, and then the flowers started blooming. And then we told the user to go to the front camera, and so if this is something on the bus stop, and we tried scanning it, and it just filled with a lot of flowers. So this is like an example of a target tracking effect. And it can be fixed, it can be movable. There are two kinds of it. We'll go through them as well. And just to make sure, like, what was the effect. So how do we know what is a good target tracking image? First of all, should be visible, should be bright, should be, of course, there should be high contrast. So the first thing is like it should be like a high contrast. So if you see at the image at the left, it has a solid color background, and the other colors available in the image are also very much different from all other colors. So our camera can easily identify the objects inside. So it's a good example of a target tracking image, which is a high contrast. However, on the image on the right side, this image is like a um, little too much mixed with the colors. Like if I look at the pixels here, and if I look at the pixels here, there's not much of a difference. But there is a change. Like it's brighter here, but it's not brighter here. There's a different color now. So this is like a not a good example of a high contrast image. And so this is not a good target tracker. It might work for some phones, it might work for some of the less contrast images as well. But the more sustainable way to make your target image is to make it like a high contrast image. So at least it detects well, because the main point of the making a target tracking effect is that it should be detected. The image should be detected first. If it is not detected, if it is not recognized, then your effect won't run. Okay, so this is our first and foremost step to activate the target tracking effect. So we have to make sure that it is high contrast. Okay, and how do we know an image is high contrast? Is that take that image, put it on grayscale, like make everything black and white. And when you do black and white, you should be able to see like black for all the other colors, like dark colors, and super white for all the white and super light colors. So if you see that like there's a lot of black and a lot of white, that means you have like good contrast, like very high contrast. So that's something you can do. The second point is high resolution. High resolution, when I talk about resolution, in Spark, all the images, the maximum resolution can go is 1024 cross 1024. Resolutions above that are not supported. Like even if you take an image of like 6000 cross 6000 pixels, Spark is going to only like automatically compress it to 1024 cross 1024. So if you're using it as a higher than that, it is just waste of space. It's better to use it 1024 cross 1024 maximum. And so minimum resolution that your image should have for target tracking is 300 cross 300. Now, for an example, the image at the left is a little bit clear than the image at the right. If you see, there's like a little bit of pixelation in here, but this is like super bright, super clean. So we make sure that we have like quite good details in our image so that those can be detected. And so this is not a good example of it. This is a great example of high resolution. 300 cross 300 is okay. I think it's a good enough for a target tracking. You could go higher as well. I think 512 cross 512, but it depends on how big your target tracker is, how detailed it is. So it depends on that. Another good key point is that there should be sharp details like this image on the right. And I can see that there's a gradients are like there are a lot of gradients in here, and then the curves in this one and the curves in this one and the curves in this one, they don't have like much of the difference. And especially when I talk about these, there are so many gradients right in here in a very small space. So and also in here, it's almost impossible for me as a human eye to identify the difference in that. So I really doubt that my camera can identify that difference. So it may be possible that my camera consider this as a different image than we were actually looking for. So this is not a great example of that. However, in here, it's just like everything is super sharp. Like even then, there are like a lot of stars, so many stars, but they are sharp. They're small, they're precise, and they're at different point. They have good brightness. So it's understandable. It's a good target tracker for the camera, and there are lines which are sharp as well. So it's a good example because of the sharp details. So we're going to make sure of that as well. So just to summarize, what we did was we want high contrast, we want high resolution, like a good resolution. It's yeah, and then we want sharp details. The next thing is that like so we understand now that okay, we're looking for high contrast, we're looking for sharp details, and we're looking for high resolution. Even if I have all of them, what if even then my camera is confused between like is it my target tracker actually, is it not? If I have like a lot of patterns into it, patterns with symmetry in fact. So if you look at the right image, this image is like a mandala, and I wouldn't say that this wouldn't work. It might work, but just for some of the patterns where like the patterns are repeated. So if there's a large image, if there's a large image, and if my camera start detecting this one as a target, like a small portion of it as a target, or a larger portion of it a target, it is going to behave differently in both cases. Let's say this is my target is entire image, but my camera understand because of the symmetry, my camera understand this is a target. Then the effect is going to apply on in here instead of the entire image. So that is why we're gonna avoid symmetrical patterns and compositions. Rather we'll look for something which is asymmetrical, like this image. It's a street, and I don't see any symmetry in here. It's a good example of a symmetrical pattern. Always remember that this might be a different setting in the day. So like this image was taken in the night, and then if you go here in the daytime, and if you try to scan this street, it might be possible that this won't be detected because of the light settings are different. So that's also something that we should take care of the compositions as well. And this is also very much important. um, we don't want to go for like a lot of complex images. um, so the image at the right has like a motif flowers, and these motif flowers are like they're there, but eh, they're repeating the same flowers. Like there's not much difference, I would say. But on the other hand, even then, on the left one, even then that we have complex images. Like this is also very complex image. So in terms of complexity, it is not a good target tracking image, but it has like sharp details. Like those are like very much, the boundaries are quite good between the textures and everything. So it makes itself like a good contrast and sharp details because of that, because of the contrast as well. Like if you see the colors and everything, so that is why this also becomes a good target tracking image. So complex images can be also good target tracking image, but you have to make sure that all the other factors like high contrast, like sharp details, good resolution, those are there. Okay. This is the one that we were talking about. Like if you have a round bottle and if you want to make it like a target image, so make sure that you choose a flat area of that. So instead of taking this bottle, this texture, I can't even look at this texture because this is round. So I can't look at it in once. So rather, I would print this in a vertical manner so that now this is like a flat area of the bottle, and then this can be scanned and detected easily. Then also there are like clear target shapes, which means that like a thin paper which can be just folded, or a cloth which can be easily folded. So consider this example like Tommy jeans, okay? And then if I just wrinkle it a little bit, my image has changed. So this is not a good target image. So we need to make sure. Same goes with the currency notes. So currency notes, they might be a little bit jumbled up or not so straight, not so flat. So that also becomes a little problematic for a target image. So it's better to have like a hard surface where your things are printed, so that at least because of the air or because of the wrinkles, your image is not distorted. So it's easily recognizable then. This is a very important point, and I see a lot of people struggling with it. What they do is that they take an image, and of course, this is transparent image, and um, this good detail is the good contrast. Everything is nice, but you just have a lot of blank space. There's no point of comparing a blank space as a target tracker, because for a target tracker it needs details. Blank space is almost like having no image. Like if you want to scan a blank image, then the blank space is never going to be detected, because it's almost similar to detecting no target at all, right? So what could be done better to make it a good target image is that you just take the image and you just make it larger, so that the blank space is not so much prominent. Like this one, this is also transparent in the background, but not most of it is transparent. Here, like most of it is transparent. That's why it's not a good target, but this one is. So a lot of companies, they want to make their filters, and they say that like, okay, we want to utilize our logo, and the logo is sometimes text, sometimes just a font text. So this is also one of the things that we can't use text we can use, of course, but it's not recommendable that you use text as a recognition, because text can have like a different font as well. So if you have a different font, then that's not a good target image. So yeah, transparency for this one. And we have seen bad and good, and then this is like completely bad examples of a target placement. Like if this is a hoarding, and if you put image on it, and you wanna try and scan this one, then so two bad things about this. First is that it is at a very much farther distance, so your camera might not be able to make sense of it. And the second one is that you need time to a little bit of, like, let's say 2-3 seconds sometimes, depending on your phone, maybe it's up to 5 seconds sometimes, that you hold your phone still when you're trying to detect a target tracker. So that's why the holding one is not so good, because it's very far. And as long as our camera can see it, that's fine. But in general, that's not a good example of a target tracking effect. Not just big and distant, it should not be too small as well. Like this one is too small, and so this is not also a good target tracking. It's going to confuse so much the camera that it won't be able to detect it. Okay, let's make a target tracking effect. Any questions? We can take some. Shaker, I think I did saw your work, but have you sent me something recently? I'm not sure, but I think last week I saw something. That was a great effect. Interactive notebooks. That's a great idea. Um, that also puts me in a, like, one more point. There's a limit to how many target tracker image you can set. Like you can set maximum up to five. Like five can be five different images you can do. So like if you're talking about that interactive notebooks, then in those notebooks you can have 5 pages in one filter. So if you want to go more than that, then you have to create multiple filters, because right now it's just only 5 target trackers are supported in one effect. Hi Chizara, hi Virendra. We make the school college's logo from our uniforms target, and by scanning it can show some fireworks or make the logo move or open its website, sort of. Yep, you can do that. Sure, everything out of them is possible. Open the website, you have to show some texture there. You can't really redirect at a link in like Instagram filters, but everything above you can do that. Okay, okay. Let's just jump in then. Well, this is a basic, just a basic filter. Nothing added to it. I'm just gonna delete it. So this is the star 3D model that we have, and this is a target poster. This is my targeting image. That if I find this image anywhere, then I have to activate some effect. So um, these are my assets. So nothing is being added to the project. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add target tracker now. When I add a target tracker is always a back camera effect. It is never a front camera effect. It is always going to work with the back camera. So uh, you see that now automatically my camera is shifted. My entire perspective is to the back camera, and I can move it like I do in the plane tracker, like WASD, like that. And so just to show you the difference, in the plane tracker we were actually finding a flat surface, so our marker was in here in the bottom right, like here. But in the target tracker, we're not actually looking for a flat plane surface, but we're looking for a flat image. Okay, anywhere. It can be anywhere. It can be lying on an angle, it can be tilted, it can be anything, but cannot be curved. It can be flat in any way. Okay, and we're gonna try this filter very soon. First we're gonna make it right. So we, as soon as I do this target tracker, it sort of adds a plane. This is a plane. Like if I add a plane, that's something I look at, right? If I add a plane, this is something I get, like a square. So this is what I'm getting in a when I'm trying to add this target tracker. And if I go to the properties of the target tracker at the right panel in here, I can see that there's a layer where you can put your target tracker to. There's a texture. The texture is this texture is the image that you want to track. Okay, so you can do is that this is the image that I want to track. So I can go in here and I can just choose this image as a Spark target poster. Okay, now it just shows that okay, this is a faded image, and so this so this is what we have to track when we open our camera. Now remember this that Spark in the simulator, it always shows you that okay, the image has been detected, like because there's no environment or nothing is in front. It always sees that this is your target image, and by default it is visible. That's what it understands. That's how it understands. But when you go into the real try testing it, it's gonna be different. You gotta first find the image, and then the image effect is gonna be activated. So let's try to add this star, just make it a child of it. As soon as I make the child of it, I see that the star has come just in front of the image. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it a little bigger. I'm gonna make it like 3, 3, and 3. So quite big star right now. And I'm going to make it a little in front of it. So now the star is like a not just right at the image, but just like a little bit in front of the image, or maybe it can be like a little more in front of the image. So now I have it, and I see that. So this should be visible when my target tracker is visible, but it is visible all the time because this is Spark. It's always gonna see that the target is detected. That's how it considers it. Another way to add this target poster. Okay, first let's test what we made. So I'm gonna just send it to my Instagram, and takes a while sometimes. Okay, so right now, sorry, so it shows you the switch to your back camera because it's a not a front camera effect. So I'm gonna go and switch to the back camera, and you see that it's already saying that find this image in a very less opaque manner, like find this image. So if I don't find it, I don't see the star, but if I find this image and I find the image, then I see the star, and you can literally see that the star is actually a little bit ahead of my, like it's in 3D right now, and it's just a little bit ahead of my screen because it's far from the image, and so if you go away, then the star in the image everything is goes back, but now it comes back, and to see it like more clearly, let's make it. Okay, to see it more clearly, what we can do is we can kind of make it, okay, not this one. We can make this one a little in front as well, and also like 5, 5, and 5. Okay. Now you'll see the actual difference. And if I put the star right in the at the image, then it's gonna appear on the image, right on the image. Like you can't really see the difference that it is actually out of the image. But if I put it out, it's going to give you that 3D look. Okay, so I'm going to utilize a different method of testing it, because if we keep sending it to Instagram, it's going to eat up a lot of time. And I hope. So now I'm gonna just test it on my Spark AR player, like iPhone 13. Sorry, the Spark AR player is like an application, so it's just like I'm just gonna send it right away, so I don't have to go to the server, Instagram server, and to work with it. Okay, so I am sending it to my phone, and I send it to my phone, so it just behaves a little bit differently. Okay, I have to show you. Well, it behaves a little bit differently because, of course, I can't see the image icon which I was looking at earlier. Now, if I look at it and then it detects it, and then you can see that it is detecting in a 3D manner. Like I know that there's a distance between there's a distance between in the middle of the screen and this thing. So yep, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna make this effect. So first, let's try to understand a little more about the patches around target tracker, and then we'll try to make something. We'll try to make some good logics. Try to make it like a more dynamic, because the capability is itself just that. There's nothing more to it. This is target tracking. Okay, but we'll try to put things into perspective and try to look at like on a different angle. So another way to work with this is that you can just drag it in here, and when you drag it in here, you see that there's a target finder. This target finder which finds the target, and I see that it selects the target. Then I give the image like which target am I selecting. So this target was the texture that I gave here. So you can also give this target image here, even if you don't bring it here and directly just give it in the properties, that works as well. But if you don't give it in here, remove it and bring it here, and then give the image here also, then it also works. Now now this target tracker number 0. This is where we at target number 0. And what I can do is I can have like multiple target select and have like different image here. And let's say this is like target tracker number 2. Okay, target tracker number 2. And then so this is going to be the target number 2. So I can just delete these, and number 1. And I can have a different image here, and I can have activation like this. Okay, so you can work with multiple targets at the same time. You can do that, but for this effect we're just going to use one. So understand the position and the scale, the rotation of this target tracker. When the target is found, it's going to send you a boolean like, okay, it is found. But for Spark AR, it is always found for them, so it always shows the star. So this is always going to be a checked. Okay, it is always going to be a check. um, yeah, and remember that whenever we use our target tracker as a texture, and we start making our effect, and let's say we're working on this and we work for like a couple of weeks, and then so how do we um, if then you change the target image, let's say you just change it a bit, you make it bigger, or like some pixels you delete, then it's not a good thing to do. You have to make sure that the dimension of the image and the resolution of the image, you don't change it later on, because then it's not like the effect gonna not gonna work, but it's just not gonna work as expected. Some of them might be like a different scale might change, because everything happens on a proportion. Okay, um, if I scan this target image, if I use my camera and scan this target image, because this is comparatively smaller, what's going to happen is it's going to give me a smaller star. But if I scan a bigger image, it's going to give me a bigger star, right? Because, so for an example, let's do this again. um, I'm going to send it again to my phone, although we didn't make any changes though, but still. Okay. Okay, I can't really show you from my, because when I do that, okay, try to. Okay, so I've tried to make the image smaller. So like you see that now my target is smaller than earlier. So my star, which is not showing up right now, let me reload it. Yeah. So this is like a smaller star, but if I you can see that the changes everything is relative to my target image. If I scan a smaller one, then it's going to be smaller. If I do the bigger one, then it's going to be bigger. So we need to understand that difference. Okay, that's all about the target tracker effect. But let's try to make something fun. Let's try to make something more realistic, something very kind of like which is intuitive. Um, yeah, I'm gonna look back at the questions and then we're gonna start making the effect. We make the okay. That's done. Can we interact with the virtual objects with our hands using hand landmarks? Hmm. Of course, not at the moment though. Like interact as in it depends. Like I wouldn't say that you can't, but you can, but very limited things you can do with the hand landmarks. I'm assuming hand landmarks can be the wrist, can be a lot of things in the hand, but you can't really do the fingers for now because those are Spark is still working on that. But I think you can rotate things using your hand. You can kind of do those things. So good luck with that. Like it's an interesting idea to rotate something using your hand and do something like that. So those can be done, I think. Can be a combination of body tracking points and yeah, if you're using two hands for sure. With any tools that exist, no, we're gonna talk about Spark AR for now, and you can do web AR, a lot of things. Everything is possible there. So okay. How about rotating the star in a loop? Yeah, we can do that. We're gonna do many more things, not just that. Actually, right now the star just appears. Okay, so the ideal way to do is that the star should appear in a way that um, it should appear like coming from like appearing from the image. So maybe it's scaling up, not just like just showing up. So that's gonna be more intuitive. So let's try to make something around it. We're probably not going to use the star, so I'm just going to delete it. This is just for an example. Um, what can be more intuitive? What can be more a good design for this is that what if a target tracker I have it becomes life. Okay, so my most exciting part that I like about the target tracking is that it can give life to a static art. So for an example, if you go to a art museum or a picture gallery somewhere, and if you look through your Instagram camera to the image, then that static art starts flowing or do something or start interacting with you. So that's something I can think about this when I look at this one. So what if I kind of utilize these shapes and this sphere can start rotating, this triangle, this circle can move from right to left. Maybe this triangle can rotate on an axis. Maybe this can like become bigger or smaller like that. Or so I could do those things. Maybe I can use this red and maybe change the position of the red, fill others and make them blank, change the colors inside them. Sorry. So we could do all of those things. Again, so this is more like a design thing now. Our development part of this park is done, but we are creators, so we got to do everything by ourselves, not just the development. So we got to make sure that how can we do it. So we got to first think about the mechanism. What do we need? We need some shapes which first of all makes the exact image. So if you're a designer, like somebody gave you this image, then they can give you open files as well. Open files is like they have, you can export each and every element. So if you have the open file of this, you can export each and every element and place everything in top of it inside this target tracker, so that when it is detected, you can make them appear. So let's start basic. Let's start small. I see that there's a sphere. This is like a sphere in here, so I can use that sphere. I see that there's a triangle in here. So let's try to make the triangle. First thing I want to do is I don't want to, no, let's keep everything, and let's take this hexagonal maybe. Let's take this hexagonal first. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a plane. Okay, and I'm going to position this plane just right, because I wanted to do this the hexagonal, and hexagonal is like quite in the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use SDF to make it. I can delete these. I'm going to use an SDF polygon. There's a SDF polygon, so you can have like a polygon, like a number of sides. I can say like 6 sides, and to give it like a sharp details, what I'm going to do is SDF complement on a smooth step. And this should give me something uh, like hexagonal. So right now it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6, but just like differently rotated like that. So I also need to fill it with the color. It's already filled with the color, but I also need the lines where there are like some lines. So let's make that. Let's try to make that. This texture I can give it to uh, this texture I can give it to some material. So let's say this material has like a matte hexagonal. I'm not going to make all of the shapes, but I'm just trying to make some of them, and maybe we can have an idea and you can explore further. So this is like, let's say I didn't have any open files, I didn't have any textures. So how do we actually start working on it? Like for, let's say we don't have anything and we start from scratch. So this is how we can do. So I can see that this star, and I can give it to this material of mine which I created, hexagonal. And if I do that, this is my plane. I'm gonna call it which hexagonal is my center one. And I see that it's not fitting right now, like not exactly the way I want it, but also not rightly rotated. So what I'm gonna do, I can rotate it by, let's say, 30 degrees, or that made sense. 30-degree like kind of made sense. Or I can just put it on 0, and I can use a rotation in here in my SDF. I can use SDF rotation, and how much rotation do I want is that I can decide that. So maybe 0.45, or 4.5 is too less. Maybe 4.6 is a good number. Yeah, and we will fix that also. And also this plane is a little bigger, so I'm gonna make it smaller and fit the image that we have. So I'm gonna just so right now it's not so much fitting. It's just a bit it's a bit larger as well. The rotation also not the exact. So for 7, I'm gonna go to, for 8, maybe for 9, or maybe 5. Yeah, we don't want to make things smaller than the our previous image. but we can just keep it a little bit bigger, but not too much. Yeah, seems about right. Seems about right to me. So now I have is that what I did is I made a hexagonal and I put it on the top. Now I can do anything with this hexagonal. I can just once it is detected, I can just rotate it or something. Like I can just give it some rotation. I can do some things with it. But first I need to change its color to the color that my original color. My original color of this is somewhat pinkish. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a color. So to give the color, since we have everything white, we could do this. We could do this, or we could. Yeah. So now I have the exact hexagonal, but I still don't have the lines. I still don't have the lines, and if I want to look at I can see that well, it's not very much like how I want it to be because of the colors, but we can modify the colors a little later as well. And so let's try to see this in action. And what we want to do also is let's say we don't want to show our image which is in the background. Like once that detects it, we just want to fade it off. So first try to test this, how this works, how would be able to detect it. So the wheel start rotating it. So once my target is found, so I'm gonna bring it in here, and if my target is found, this is gonna give me a boolean. So I'm gonna use this for, I'm gonna take that pulse from that boolean, that when this boolean is true, give me a pulse, and this pulse should start an animation, and this animation should give me a transition which can control my rotation. So if that happens, then I'm going to say 0 0, and this could be 360. um, I want to keep rotating it. If you want to keep rotating it, then we just have to start a loop animation here. Okay, and the loop animation will keep rotating it if it is detected. So right now it's detected, so it's going to keep rotating because it's like that, because Spark AR is like that. It always considered is like it's being detected. This is the access center. Okay, and then I also want to like scale it up. I want to scale it up from 0 to 1. So right now my scale is like some 0.6 and 1. So I'm gonna take the scale, and when that happens, when this is found, I'm gonna take the pulse, and then this pulse I'm gonna use an animation, which animation gonna give me a transition. This transition is that um, it's gonna start from 0 0 0, and it's gonna go to this one 6. This is how it's gonna go. All right, and this is gonna take 1 minute to do that, 1 seconds to do that, and okay, I think we are ready to start, ready to test our effect. Let's try and then see like what it becomes. So sending it, says find the image. And if I find the image, I can see that there's something on that particular circle right there. I'm gonna send it again. Then you can see that okay, that the thing is coming and it's rotating. It's rotating too fast. So and also the colors are different. The colors are not exactly the same. So it's looking different also. And I see that that there's a that the back The back hexagonal is also visible. So let's make that invisible. Like we want to show a effect, but we want to show that the static image which existed earlier now started rotating. That's what we want to do. And right now the static image stays there and element comes over it, so it's not very intuitive, it's not very like we are giving it life, but it's very much visible that the art which was static earlier is still static. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of create um, we're gonna create another plane, and I'm gonna create a plane. So ideally, what we'll do is we'll create this plane to like to cover the entire art. Okay, the entire art, but right now we just, or maybe let's just do the entire art. Okay, let's just do the entire art. So this plane has to be exactly equal to the size of the image tracker. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna scale it up to the exact size of my target tracker. You can always use these manipulators to manipulate the scales, the sizes, and everything. Now my this plane is going to cover everything that my target tracker is, and I'm going to give this as a background. Okay, and this background is going to have a material, and we're going to call it matte beachy, and it's going to be flat, and should have a color, and the color is I'm going to give the color which is the main background color. So how do we do that? um, I need to identify the colors first. So this is the image. Okay, so this color should be picked up from the background of that. So I'm going to pick the background color and just put it like this, and also I'm going to fix the color of this guy, which is the okay, much better. All right, we have the color. Why we took the background is because we didn't want to show the back of the static art. So now we need to make that in function. So as soon as my target image is selected, so I'm gonna, this is my actually initial pulse whenever my target is found. So I'm gonna create a pulse. So I'm gonna just create a sender because we're gonna utilize this again and again. So this sender is okay. Are we following until here? Is there any questions so far? Because I remember last we checked, it was like a long while. How to tell if the user to switch back camera by using 2D text or something about assignment? Yeah, Shruti, you can use a 2D text. That's totally okay. Um, you can also use Spark AR's default instructions. So for that, you have to go to like the project properties in here. So what you need to do is that you go to project properties, you edit properties, and when you edit properties, you go to capabilities. In here, you go to instructions, and there are custom instructions also, which you can expand and select the instruction that you want. So let's say you want flip camera, yes, switch camera is there. So you add this switch camera. There's a token that given to you. This token is flip camera. So you copy it, copy this instruction, and how do we give instruction to the device is that we go to the device and we click on the custom instructions, and the custom instruction come here. You give this token like this is my custom flip camera, and this should be enabled when my, let's say, what was your question? You wanted to switch to the back camera if you have the front camera. So I'm gonna say if my front camera is activated, then my this filter is gonna enabled and it's gonna tell you to switch camera. So if I switch to the front camera, you can see that instruction switch cam in here, right? Switch cam. So it shows in the bottom in the simulator, but on the Spark here, it comes in the like right in the middle of the screen. That's how you can do it. I'm going to repeat the steps. And like there were a lot of, you go to the project, edit properties, then you see that experiences, capabilities, compression, a lot of things. You go to the capabilities, and we're looking for instructions. So we go to the instruction and we are adding some custom instructions. These are default instructions. Why we are adding it here? Because we want to tell Spark that we're going to use them. So we must tell this Spark that we're going to use them. Once we tell this Spark that we're going to use them, we need the token. Like, how do we use them? So we need the token for that particular instruction. So we go in here, the switch camera, and then if you want to add more, you can just go and like bunch of instruction in here, say something, tap to continue, whatever, like bunch of them. And you just copy it, and let's say if you have like other logics where there's no face detected, then you have to show that. Then this enable is going to be subjective, like there has to be some logics. You're gonna play with it. If back camera is open, then what happens? If front camera is open, then what happens? So the token is going to change. You might have to use a like option picker, and then this going to be like a text. So if there are like multiple instruction at multiple conditions, then you can just use the flip camera in here, and some other instruction which you want to do, let's say option number 2 in here, number 3, and this can be your token, and you can change the option based on your condition. That's how you do like multiple instructions as well. All right. Okay, so this pulse is my that's target found pulse. Okay, this target found pulse, and this is going to be pulse. Because you're gonna utilize it again and again, so I'm just gonna make a receiver, take it a little away from here. Now what I want to do is that when my target is detected, my background should become like like just blank. It should be just super blank. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fade in this background. So this background image should come. So initially I'll trigger an animation. This animation, if I'm gonna trigger, so it has some color. This is the color that it has. So to like save it first. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a value which is a color value, and this color value has this color. Not much difference in the black on this one, but still we're gonna match a target. And initially it should be transparent. Like initially it should not be visible, but when I trigger this transition, uh, it should be like a swizzle and the XYZ0. This is like if I say XYZ0, it's just gonna make it like transparent because there's no alpha. Okay, bye. Thank you. Good night. So this was like XYZ0, and this is the exact color. So why we do it is because we use it with a mix patch so that we can kind of work with the opacity of this. So, okay, understand this because this is going to be like super useful throughout Spark AR, whatever you do, because we don't just make things appear, we make them slowly appear. So this is like a super nice trick how you do it. So initially, what I want initially is 0. When I am at 0, that means I'm using the first one. When I'm at 1, that means I'm using the second one. This is a mix patch, which is at 0, then 100% of the 0, 0% of this one. And if it is 1, then 100% of the second input. If it is zero point 0.5, then it is 50% of this and 50% of this. But initially we are at 0. So initially I want things transparent. But then if it is 1, then I want like not transparent. And that should be my background. And they should trigger it. Okay. So what this progress is going to go from 0 to 1. So initially I'm at 0. I can use like a transition here. I can use a transition here, like a number, and I can say like, hey, go to 0 to 1. But this is the same thing. My progress always goes from 0 to 1, right? So I can do this, right? So this is just to save some time. um, I think this is gonna do the thing for me. So this is taking 1 second to do that. Now after this happens, the 1 second this happens. So after this happens, then I'm gonna show my other things. So if I want to scale it up after this completes, after I've shown my background, then I'm gonna use this animation here. Okay, after I've shown my background, when it is completed, then it's going to give me a pulse, and then I start the animation. It's going to scale up the hexagonal. Okay, and hexagonal scale up, and it's rotating. That's okay. Rotation is okay for me. So let's try and test it out. How is this working? I'm going to go back to the front camera. Okay, let's try and test it out. And that also take 1 second. So hopefully it should be okay. It's just we don't have the lines in the middle yet, but we'll get there. Do you see what is happening here? You see that okay, so there are a few things which are happening. Let me show you. So it is detecting, and then it is making that image like a black, super black. And then there's some little bit of like, I see the texture, but I also see that the black, and there's a fight between them. There's a fight like who comes first. And this is called Z fighting. We call it Z like Z fighting in the axis. So we need to make like a little bit of very tiny separation between them so the fight ends. Because if they keep fighting, it's not going to look good. And also I noticed that there was a little bit of textures I can see at the top, like up the top. I can see that there's a little bit of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bigger on the sides so that it just looks better. So this is about my background. My background's size, I'm going to increase it to a bit. Okay, so because of the material, we can't see this or what? Okay, that's weird. That's weird because I can't see the manipulators of this. Like how far am I at? So it's weird. Okay. So what our goal was to make this one a little bit ahead of this so that this doesn't fight. Okay. And this background also you can make a little bit ahead. And we wanted to increase in X a little bit. So we can make it like a 3.02. And this could be like four, or, no, could be like 4.3, and that should fix our problems, I think. Yeah, so the Z fighting is gone. The Z fighting is not there anymore, but we still have to, like, we can still increase this a little bit so that this blue doesn't come up, and so we'll have like a proper effect. Um, but just like adjustments, so don't have to worry much about it as well. Like if you wanna just leave it as it is, that's okay as well. And is this because of the no? Okay, so it's 4.3, and can make it 4.33. Let's try one more time, and then we can work later. Yep, this looks perfect. This looks perfect. That this is detecting it, and I can see that. So the other thing is that every time I detect my target, the animation is just runs once. So if I move away and I would go back, I see that the rotation always comes. The scaling doesn't come. That means we have to reset our effect every time it gets a pulse. So this also should reset it, and that will always give us the animation both ways. Like it will show us the fadeness, and it will also show us the scaling. No, the effect hasn't reached it. Yep. So if I go away and if I come back, no, it's not working. Oh, because it's not working because we have not connected this. Okay. You see how smoothly this happens. Okay, if I just go very smoothly, it just comes, right? So it just becomes very intuitive. You see that my iPad has become like a little art board now. So imagine this happening in an art gallery, or so that's a nice thing to have. Mm. And there are a couple of things that needs to be fixed also. Like every time it happens, it's rotating and then it goes back. It takes some time to reset. Okay, so we know that we can do that. There's a triangle as well that we can. There are some lines also that we can make. Let's try to make some lines. Okay, so basically we have to make lines, and our STF is here. So what we want to do is we want to make some lines on like a 120-degree angles from the center, 60-degree angles from the center, because there will be six lines. So six angles like 360-degree around the point. So there's a chord like SDF line. Or what we can do is we can also create six triangles and put them like together. That also can be done. So I think that's going to be simpler. Okay, let's go with the lines first. So we're going to go SDF line, and this SDF line looks like this. So just gonna try and see. It looks like this right now, and I don't want like too much width, so mine can be 0.01, or maybe lesser than this, could be like 0.5, half of it. Okay, and this is the one with the center, and then I want one line at an angle of like 60-degree, I think. So the another line that I want is should be at an angle. So if I increase this, am I changing my angle? But I don't know how much am I changing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is not going to give me like the exact angle, but I can use some other methods to do that. I can use a rotation. So I use another SDF line, and I'm gonna make a union of these. Like I'm gonna add the previous one and the new one. And if I do that, then it's going to be my newer line. But right now they're just top of each other because it's the same line. So I'm gonna rotate this one, SDF rotation. Are we following this? Are we understanding what I'm doing? Or just yeah, if you don't understand something, let me know. If you are also trying this effect by yourself, then also let me know so that I can focus on what to work on next. All right, so I'm gonna give some angle to this union. If I try giving it some union, I can see that there's some angle. coming in now. And if I go to this one, this probably something we're looking for, I think. So 0.8 gives me this. After that, so I need one more like this. So I need like couple of these unions to make these lines, and we'll just take the intersection of both. So I think if I just flip this line, if I just flip this line, I'll have the other one, right? So I'll just take this one and flip it, SDF flip. And now I flip it, then I think that's gonna give me that. Yep, that's gonna give me that. So this flip should be union, SDF union to this one, and then this is gonna give me that. So I see that I have like a couple of lines which merges at the center, and this is the thing that I have. If I intersect, if I intersect, if I intersect both of these to the if I take an intersection between both of these, this is my hexagonal, okay, and these are my lines. And if I just take an SDF intersection, would that give me intersection? Let's see. Yeah, so I have the lines which are, I've got the lines, and all I need to do now is combine these two images. So I'm just gonna do that. Copy it and paste it in here. So this one is my hexagonal, and this is my that. So I'm gonna put my hexagonal. So you understanding the okay? We created the lines, and we had our hexagonal until here. So what we did was that okay, we took an intersection that wherever my hexagonal is, print those lines, and then after that I don't care. So now I'm taking the hexagonal and I'm gonna blend it. Okay. So hexagonal should be at the bottom. So bottom means destination. And my lines should be at the top. That means the source. And that should give me the combined shape of that. And this should also I'll be able to see it in here. So you can see that my hexagonal now has lines, but those lines are certainly not at the correct angle. So we can change that. The angle was here, so we were looking at this angle. We're looking at number one. Okay, now we have like a perfect line. Okay, and I think the only thing we are missing is the color of the line. The color of the line should be white. So to do that, I think I think then to do that, there's a way to do it. So we're gonna use a mix patch. Okay, and this mix patch will have a color given to this, and the color, it will be a color patch. This can be transparent. Okay, transparent to a color that we're going to decide for it. So let's say value is the color, and the value is the color, and this color is this color. So I'm going to save this also so that I can utilize it again and again. Okay, and use this color. Initially like this should be transparent of this color, so I'm going to swizzle. Do we understand why do we make things transparent? Why do we need to make things transparent? Is there any doubt in that? Because when I try to explain something, and if you don't ask me doubts, I assume that you understood it. So I hope you understood it. That's really good. But if you're not, then you feel free to like ask me, because these things also took me some time to understand. But now is like I'm so fluent with these that I use them like so much every day. And this is my color for my hexagonal, and I'm gonna just make it super white because colors I'm giving from the patches now. And the same setup I want from my above setup. See, right now we're not doing anything related to target tracker. We are doing things with SDF. We are doing to We're doing things with um, just to make some textures the way they are. So if we had these images as textures, all we had to do is like scale them, or do some things with them, like on some timing. But right now we are kind of creating those textures, which is actually fun part of it. Like, we create your own textures. That's actually fun. So in this one, we're gonna go white for the lines, and then if this is white, this is gonna be white, and the white comes at the oh we did the this should be at the top, and this should be at the bottom. So this should be in here, which is at the bottom, and this should be in here, which should be at the top. I'm going to explain this. Don't worry, I'm going to explain this very neatly just now. Now we have like the exact hexagonal that we had, but I see there's a little bit of displacement in here. Is it, or is it okay? I think, yeah, there's a little bit of displacement. Can make it maybe more 0.01. Let's keep it to 1 for now. We don't want to make things perfect, but just want to understand like how we made it. So I'm going to repeat what I did with the SDF so that that makes sense to everyone. So I'm going to start with the hexagonal first. Okay. So I took a SDF polygon. Okay. SDF polygon, and I rotated it a bit because the initial one was like a flat one, but now I rotated it to have the tip at the top. So I rotated it with like a 60-degree angle. This is 0.5 is about 60-degree angle. And when I rotated it, I took a complement. The complement is nothing but 1 minus the shape. So if right now I'm printing the hexagonal, and if I take the complement of it, then I'm going to print the inside of it. And if I don't take the complement, I'm going to print the outside of it. This is basically subtraction from the other color to the white color, like a black color or white color. So what we want to show is always white, and black is always transparent. So we have to remember that. Like, this is how the shaders works everywhere. So this is the complement is just turning that thing to, like look at this. This was the hexagonal earlier, and then we took the complement, and then everything just changed. Okay. Like, this was the original one, and then we changed everything. So this complement gives me that hexagonal shape. If I don't take the complement, it's going to be like a super transparent. Then a smooth step is just making things sharper. Okay. I can show you, just take an example of this. Okay. So right now everything is super sharp. If I increase this, look at the corners of those. Okay, look at the corners of this. Okay, if I increase this, you'll see that the black has started coming in the picture, and then it is becoming a little bit blurry at the edges. So that is why I chose a very very smaller value, so that it just doesn't blur it out, always stays like a sharper at the corner. So this is the main hexagonal I created. Then I created SDF line. I created one line which was like a vertical line. So the vertical line was it was the middle line. Okay, I didn't have to change anything. Then I created the same patch, another one, and I rotated it by 120. So this line that I created was this line, and then I rotated this line by 120 degrees. So this line, second number line, and then I just took a flip of it. Flip of just like whatever the line is, just a flip of like the mirror image of that. And I added everything. SDF union is this. You want the first line also, and you want the flip line also. Then I also want the line which is straight. So there are three unions: line number one and two, line number two and three, line number one. So line number one, two, and three is this line. So now this intersection. Now this intersection goes with the three lines all together. So I'm just like gonna group it and call it like lines. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the lines and I'm gonna group this as a hexagonal. I'm gonna call it hexa. So I took my hexa and I took my lines and I took an intersection of them. Intersection is that because lines, how they work is they go to infinity. That's how the line is. Line starts, line has no end. Both the sides it has arrows and they go to the infinity. Okay. But I don't want that. I want those lines to end at some point, and that those points are the corners of my hexagonal. Okay, so that is why what I did was that wherever my hexagonal is, only show my lines there and do not print beyond that. So that's why I took the intersection. If I had taken a union, then the line would go across them as well. If I had taken a union of these, like let's say if I take SDF union, that means you want to show both of them, not the intersection. If I take the union, then you'll see that those lines will also cross it. They will also be shown beyond those points. So that's why we're not going for the union at the moment. So we took the intersection, and now we are printing them differently. Like this is my print process. My taking the complement in smooth step is my print process. Like how do I want to show those lines? So I'm doing them differently because they have different colors, right? One is the pink color and the lines are white. So that is why I had to do that. If they had the same color, then I could use the same complement. I could just use the same thing. But and that is why, and this is for the color, just for the color. So we say that my alpha is where my hexagonal is, and wherever my hexagonal is, you show me this color, and rest of the colors should be transparent. So everywhere else it is transparent, and wherever my hexagonal is, it's that color. Similarly, wherever my lines are, make it white, and everywhere else it has to be transparent. So that's how I did it. And it's super useful. It's super useful when you're fading out your instructions. Let's say you're fading out your textures. This is very important that you pass the texture, take the transparent in the first mix, take the original text in the second mix, and then that would be your like fade in process. If you want to fade out, then just exchange these two, like, yeah. And that's it. That's the final is the blend. So what I did is I took the hexagonal at the bottom. Destination is always at the bottom. Source is always at the top. So when you're blending two things, always remember whatever you pass at the source will render first, and whatever you pass at the destination will render behind it, always. But you can have like some sort of blend modes also, like you can add it or subtract it based on the color differences. These can give you different outputs as well. Okay, should we try it again? There's another thing I wanted to fix, is that if my pulse is off, then it should reset as well. So my target tracker is gone, then reset. And there's another one. If target is found, then reset. If my target is gone, then reset as well. Okay. So what I did is that if my target is found, then do this and that. Okay, that's fine. But if my target is not found again, like I've seen it, then if I go away and if I come back, then it should treat it as like a fresh target. That's what I want. Like that's why I said like, okay, if my target is off, then give me a pulse which will reset the animation, which will reset the background as well. So let's try this where we are, and we go in here, it detects it, and we have this. It's rotating very fast, so for sure we can use like 3, 4, 5 seconds, and yeah. Um, our goal is to make all the other shapes as well, but do we have some time to take some questions also, rather, because for me it's okay to do it, but if you want to, let's say, create some shape that you think that is interesting, let me know. I can create that shape for you in here. So you can pick any shape also, and we can work on that. We could also make these shapes where there are like complex shapes are there. We could make those, and if you make those color based shapes, and then you have all the rights, all the capabilities to change the colors, those colors, and then it could like just so good, because that entire art would be literally live. Like you just gave the life to the entire art. Yeah. Hi, Soumya. Good evening. Study is harder than there are definitely possibilities. Yep, yep. I think I've seen your interest in STFs quite a lot. I suggest that you actually don't have to study too hard. I mean, but you gotta practice. So what I do is sometimes I just go to I just go to Pinterest. If you go to Pinterest and some abstract art shapes, like what can be geometry or abstract shapes. Okay, so for an example, this is what I do. Okay, just go anywhere, any other Pinterest, like this image. Okay, very interesting image. And what if you want to create this image using SDFs? Then this is going to be such a nice practice for you, like, because now you have a reference. Now you know that what you want to make, and then you'll try to figure out a way to make it. You'll try to figure out a way to make a circle. You'll try to make a way to figure out a line which is not straight, a little bit distorted. So you'll like use a couple of things, and that will give you immense confidence. Like once you make one your first art like that, and then you're just gonna like create so many, then it's just beautiful that way, like the colors and everything, especially this shape you see then here. I know there's no SDF patch to make it directly, but there are a couple of combinations that you can do. Maybe you can have a rectangle, and you can have another shape which you can, you know, combine and do some things like. So this can be done. There are SDF rounding patches as well, which could give you like some sort of this sort of curvature. So it could be interesting. So you can just try it out some of the shapes and then just work on them. Maybe start with some simple shapes first. These are not so simple. Maybe like a no, this is again complex. So you can choose your own interest based on your interest, and then that's gonna like give you like immense confidence in terms of SDFs for sure, because you can create those like the bunch of the good part is that very less patches, and all the shapes are just a combination of those shapes, like circle, rectangle, this line, and then you combine them differently to make like different sort of shapes. um, maybe someday if you have enough time, I'll show you some work that I've done using SDFs, and you can't tell a difference. Like there was no texture imported from outside. Everything was done in Spark AR, so that does make you feel good about like that is something you created yourself. Will the target tracker on deformed surface like print on t-shirts? Yeah, it will work. It will work, of course, but again, you need to keep your shirt straight. Like if I keep my shirt like this and try to identify Tommy, I can't. Not just the target tracker. I can't do this from my own eyes. Also, like I can't see this if it is like this. But if it is well planed like this, then I can see it's Tommy. It can be detected. But if there's a deformation in here like this, then the camera is going to be a little bit confused, so your whatever is going to appear is going to be like little angled or something like that. So yeah, Sandesh, I hope that answers your question. um I think I'm good to stop here with the effect, and like maybe I'm going to share this file at the same place where we do. um, if you want to this is not official. This is just if you want to work on the shapes, consider this is an assignment or something like of this class, or because target tracker has nothing to like. I can't I can't teach you something on target tracker. It's just like the target tracker and positioning of things. So what we did is like put a background so that we can hide whatever we are detecting. And once we hide it, it becomes our canvas to like draw things, and we draw the same thing that we had earlier. So maybe once we do everything, we just gonna reduce the time of fading and everything. So it just appears that the static image started playing all of a sudden. So it's going to appear that the static image was like this, and then all of a sudden you look in the camera and then it starts revolving. So it's just interactive art. So maybe you can try making some simple shapes like this triangle, or this rare square. This is a this is a circle, and it's very easy to make this circle. Like I can show you how to make this circle. You take a SDF circle, and the SDF circle, again I'm going to use the default SDF complement, and this is my SDF smooth step. Okay, just smooth step. Just gonna make it sharper, and then I'm just going to see like what is it outputting me. Okay, so right now I see that, so this is my printing engine, so I'm gonna just keep it separate. Okay, and it's going to give me a circle, but what I want is this circle here. So it is one circle, another circle, and there's a transparent area in the middle. So there's a patch called like SDF annular. So what it does is that just takes up the radius and then keep coming in towards inside. So what you do is you do that. If you put it 0, then nothing gonna happen. Put it to 0.1, you'll see that at the boundaries that started cutting it like a. Then you can control its width. You can go up to like zero point 0.5, and then you can see that we have something similar to that, and we can reduce the radius to like zero point 0.3. So you have that shape, correct? And then you also see there's a shadow on the back. So what you can do is I can use the same texture, make it black, and put it in the back side of that circle. So you'll have the exact shape that you were looking for. And to make it half, well, that's your assignment. You just have to make it half here, and that half kind of thing also can be utilized here. So it's just like create once and utilize it multiple places. Just change the colors, make this triangle, put this circle here. Maybe ignore these things, but if you do, then that's fine. But you can ignore, because like a lot of um, not a lot of patches, but I think it's a little bit complex. But I'm sure you can do this. I'm sure you can do this. This is nothing beyond your reach. You can easily do it if you want to do it. But let's start simple. Let's try to create everything from your own conscience and knowledge, um, and then see like where it gets us. And if there are any doubts, questions, we can always solve them. Well, I think I'm done for the day. If I'm gonna take some more questions if you have any. And yeah, any problems in the assignments? Have they been already submitted? I mean, I think the last date was done already. So have you submitted your assignments? Are there any questions on them? Let me know. I'm here for like a few minutes. I remember the SDF Annular. It's a very powerful patch. Um, gives good shapes, good outlines, and that's good to know. That's good to know that your first has been submitted. Um, all right. I think Soumya, you were late a little today. We've also announced that the second assignment, but you'll get a detailed email for that. So good luck with that. Okay. If no more questions, I think we can end off. and meet tomorrow. Um, Quickly, I'm gonna just put this link into the drive that we have, so you can get it from there. Okay, Samya, that's good. That's good.
So yeah, guys, your the wait is finally over. I have shared the attendance link with you all, so you can kindly fill the form to get the attendance for today. And I hope it was really very insightful session for you all. So let's wrap up with the session today. Can we wrap up, sir?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. It was all well, and yeah, it was a wonderful session. Nobody asked for the attendance link today. That's an improvement. So that's
The session was really very interesting. Like these 1.45 hours just flew like moments when you are learning something wholeheartedly. The time just passes. So guys, if you are having any kind of queries, we are waiting for 1 minute. If you have any queries, you can kindly put that in the comment section. The attendance link is already shared. You can fill the attendance form as well, or else we are good to wrap up with the stream. So I think there is no more doubts from the audience side. So let's wrap up with the session today. So thank you very much, Naveen sir, for coming here and taking out your time from your schedule for such a nice session. It was really very wonderful to learn about target tracking, and hope to see you in the next stream and learn new concepts about augmented reality. Till then,
yeah.
and thank you everyone for being such a nice and lovely audience, being so patient with us. Thank you everyone. See you again in the next stream. Till then, stay tuned. Good night. Tata. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.